My 8-year-old granddaughter tugged at my sleeve during Thanksgiving dinner and whispered something that made my blood run cold. "Grandma Evie, please don't tell anyone, but I think Daddy is trying to hurt Mommy. I found something terrible in his office." I looked into those frightened hazel eyes, and I knew in my bones she wasn't making it up. But before we continue, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and write in the comments where you're watching this video from. We love knowing how far our stories reach. Savannah in November is usually my favorite time of year. The air carries that perfect crispness, the Spanish moss hangs golden in the afternoon light, and my Victorian home on East Gaston Street fills with the smell of turkey and sweet potato pie. I'm Evelyn Harper, 63 years old, retired after 40 years of teaching elementary school. I thought I knew children. I thought I knew my own family. I was wrong about one of those things. That Thanksgiving, my son Marcus had driven down from Atlanta with his wife Sandra and their daughter Lily. Marcus was my only child, the boy I raised alone after my husband Walter passed from a heart attack when Marcus was just 12. I gave him everything. Worked double shifts, took summer jobs, made sure he went to Morehouse, celebrated when he became a financial advisor with his own firm. He was my pride, my purpose. Sandra was everything I could have wished for in a daughter-in-law. A pediatric nurse with gentle hands and a softer heart, she met Marcus at a charity gala 8 years ago. When Lily was born, I cried tears of pure joy. My granddaughter had her mother's kind eyes and her father's sharp mind. Or so I thought about the sharp mind part. Now I know better. That evening, everyone was gathered in the dining room. Marcus was carving the turkey, making jokes about his golf game, playing the role of successful family man. Sandra sat beside him, quieter than usual, thinner than the last time I saw her. I noticed but didn't comment. Maybe work stress. Maybe the long drive. Lily barely touched her food. She kept glancing at her father, then at her mother, then at me. When I asked if she wanted more mashed potatoes, she shook her head and asked if she could be excused to use the bathroom. 5 minutes later, I felt that small hand on my arm in the hallway. "Grandma Evie, please don't tell anyone, but I think Daddy is trying to hurt Mommy." I crouched down to her level, my knees protesting the way 63-year-old knees do. "Sweetheart, what do you mean? What did you see?" Her voice trembled. "Last week, I couldn't sleep. I went downstairs to get water and I heard Daddy on the phone in his office. He didn't know I was there," he said. She swallowed hard. "He said Mommy's policy was worth $2 million and that it had to look like an accident. He said he found someone who could make it happen." My heart stopped. Literally felt like it stopped beating for 3 whole seconds. "Lily, honey, are you absolutely sure that's what you heard?" She nodded, tears forming. "And Grandma, that's not all. Yesterday, I saw Daddy putting drops from a little brown bottle into Mommy's vitamin water. The bottle wasn't from the pharmacy. It had no label. Mommy's been so tired and sick lately. She says it's just a bug, but..." I pulled her into a hug, my mind racing. This couldn't be true. Not Marcus, not my boy. But then I remembered things. Little things I had dismissed. 6 months ago, Marcus had called asking about my will, saying it was just for estate planning purposes. He seemed very interested in the life insurance policy I kept. 3 months ago, Sandra mentioned on the phone that Marcus had insisted on increasing her life insurance. "He says it's for Lily's future," she'd said. "But $2 million seems excessive for a nurse's salary, doesn't it?" Last month, when they visited briefly, Sandra had seemed exhausted. She'd stumbled twice going up the stairs. "I don't know what's wrong with me," she'd said. "I keep getting these headaches, this fatigue. The doctors can't figure it out. Doctors can't figure it out. Because they weren't looking for poison." Oh God. I looked at my granddaughter, this brave little girl who had the courage to speak up when she was terrified. "I believe you, Lily. I believe you completely." The relief that flooded her face nearly broke me. "What do we do, Grandma?" I thought fast. We couldn't confront Marcus directly. If he was truly capable of this, confronting him would only make things worse. We needed proof. We needed Sandra safe. We needed help. "Here's what we're going to do," I whispered. "Go back to dinner. Act normal. Don't look at your daddy differently than usual. Can you do that for me?" She nodded, wiping her eyes. "Good girl. I'm going to figure this out. I promise you, I'm going to protect your mama." She hugged me tight. "I knew you'd believe me, Grandma. I knew it." After 40 years of teaching, you learn to spot liars. You learn to recognize the difference between a child's imagination and a child's truth. Lily was telling the truth. Every instinct I had screamed it. But this was my son, my flesh and blood. The boy I nursed through chickenpox, cheered at Little League games, drove to prom. The man I was so proud of. How could I have raised a monster? I went back to dinner and smiled, laughed at Marcus's jokes, complimented Sandra's contribution of green bean casserole. Inside, I was drowning. After dessert, I made my move. Sandra, honey, you look exhausted. Why don't you and Lily spend the night here? The drive back to Atlanta is too long this late, and you should rest. Marcus started to object. Mom, we have plans tomorrow. Nonsense. It's late, and Sandra's been run down. One night won't hurt. Something flickered in Marcus's eyes. Annoyance? Fear? I couldn't tell. Fine, he said. But I should head back tonight. I have a client meeting first thing. On the day after Thanksgiving? Finance never sleeps, Mom. You know that. I did know that. I also knew my son was lying. After Marcus left, after Sandra and Lily were settled in the guest room, I did something I never thought I'd do. I called my oldest friend, Dorothy Chen, who happened to be a retired detective with the Savannah-Chatham Metropolitan Police. Evie, it's 11 at night. Someone better be dead. Dorothy, I need your help. It's about Marcus. Silence. Then, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Dorothy arrived in her pajamas under a trench coat, looking like she'd walked off the set of a noir film. I told her everything. Lily's testimony, Sandra's mysterious illness, my suspicions. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, You know what you're suggesting, Evie? If you're wrong? I'm not wrong. Lily isn't lying, and those symptoms Sandra's having? I looked them up while you were driving over. Consistent with thallium or arsenic poisoning, low doses over time. Dorothy's face went grim. If you're right, we need evidence. And we need to get Sandra tested without tipping Marcus off. How? Tomorrow, I'll make some calls. I know a toxicologist at Memorial who owes me a favor. We can run Sandra's blood work off the books, see if anything shows up. She paused. Evie, there's something else you should know. I've heard rumors about your son. My stomach clenched. What kind of rumors? His firm. Word is, he's in trouble. Lost a lot of client money in bad investments, maybe embezzled some to cover the losses. Nothing proven, but people talk. Marcus in financial trouble. Marcus needing money desperately. Sandra's $2 million life insurance policy. It all made horrible, terrible sense. The next morning, I told Sandra that I'd scheduled a spa day for us, my Thanksgiving gift to her. What I actually did was drive her to Dorothy's friend at Memorial Health, a doctor, Patel, who specialized in toxicology. I don't understand, Sandra said as they drew her blood. Why would you want me to do this? I took her hand. Sandra, I need to tell you something, and I need you to stay calm and listen. I told her about Lily, about what she'd seen and heard, about my suspicions. Sandra went white, then gray. Then she laughed, high and hysterical. That's insane. Marcus would never. Has he been giving you vitamins? Supplements? Something he prepares for you? She stopped laughing. His special protein shakes. He started making them 3 months ago. Said they'd help with my energy levels. When did your symptoms start? Silence. The terrible, damning silence of realization. 3 months ago, she whispered. Dr. Patel promised results within 48 hours. In the meantime, I convinced Sandra to stay with me. Just tell Marcus you need rest. Tell him Lily and I want more grandma time. Keep things normal. Normal. As if anything could be normal again. Marcus called that evening. I watched Sandra answer. Watched her force her voice to sound cheerful. Hi, honey. Yes, we're fine. Your mom's spoiling us rotten. What? No. I'm feeling much better already. Must be the Savannah air. A pause. I love you too. She hung up and looked at me with haunted eyes. I sounded convincing, didn't I? I've been convincing myself for years that everything was fine, that the coldness in his eyes was just stress, that his obsession with our finances was just him being responsible. It's not your fault. He asked me about my insurance policy last year. wanted to increase it. I thought it was sweet, that he was thinking about Lily's future. She laughed bitterly. He wasn't thinking about Lily at all. Lily appeared in the doorway, holding her stuffed rabbit. "Mommy? Grandma? Are you okay?" Sandra pulled her daughter close. "We're fine, baby. We're going to be fine." I hoped she was right. The call from Dr. Patel came 37 hours later. "Mrs. Harper, you need to sit down for this." His voice was grave. "Sandra's blood work shows elevated levels of thallium. It's a slow-acting poison, nearly undetectable without specific testing. The levels aren't immediately lethal, but if exposure continued, she would die. Eventually, yes. It would mimic natural illness. Doctors would likely never find the cause." I thanked him, hung up, and called Dorothy. "We have proof. Thallium poisoning." "That's enough for a warrant. But Evie, I need to ask you something. When we arrest Marcus, are you prepared for what that means? I thought of my son at 12, crying at his father's funeral. I thought of him at 18, beaming in his cap and gown. I thought of him at 30, holding newborn Lily with such tenderness. Then I thought of Sandra, slowly dying from poison her husband put in her morning shake. I thought of Lily, brave little Lily, who saw everything and had the courage to speak. "Do what you have to do," I said. "He's not my son anymore." Dorothy assembled a team. They obtained a search warrant based on the toxicology report and Lily's testimony. They found the unmarked bottle of thallium sulfate in Marcus's desk drawer, poorly hidden behind old tax returns. They found his computer, where he'd searched untraceable poisons, life insurance investigation, and how to make death look natural. My son was not just evil. He was stupid and evil. The worst combination. They found something else, too. Financial records showing Marcus had embezzled nearly $1 million from his clients over 4 years. He was weeks away from exposure, weeks away from prison. Sandra's death would have given him $2 million to disappear with, to start over somewhere far away. Would he have taken Lily? I wondered. Or would she have been another problem to solve? I couldn't think about that. I couldn't. Marcus was arrested at his Atlanta office on a Monday morning. Attempted murder, embezzlement, fraud. The charges stacked like building blocks of horror. I wasn't there for the arrest. I couldn't be. But Dorothy sent me a photo from the security footage. My son in handcuffs, his face twisted with fury, shouting something at the officers. I deleted the photo without reading what he was shouting. I didn't want to know. The trial lasted 3 weeks. I testified. Sandra testified. Even Lily, brave beyond her years, testified via closed-circuit camera, too young to face her father in open court. The prosecution presented everything: the poison, the searches, the financial records. Marcus's defense attorney tried to paint him as a desperate man driven to madness by financial pressure. The jury didn't buy it. Guilty on all counts. 30 years in federal prison without the possibility of parole. When the verdict came down, I was sitting in my Savannah living room with Sandra and Lily, watching the news. Sandra cried. Lily didn't. "He was going to kill my mommy," she said quietly. "I'm glad they stopped him." "You stopped him, sweetheart," I told her. "You were the brave one. You spoke up when no one else could." She thought about this. "I was scared you wouldn't believe me, Grandma." "I'll always believe you, Lily. Always." After the trial, Sandra and Lily moved into my house. Not temporarily, permanently. Sandra couldn't go back to Atlanta, couldn't face the whispers and stares. Besides, her health was still recovering. Thallium leaves its marks. But slowly, month by month, she got stronger. Found a job at Memorial Health, the same hospital that had saved her life. Lily enrolled in the elementary school where I'd taught for 40 years, where my former colleagues adored her. And me? I spent a lot of time thinking about what I'd missed, the warning signs with Marcus that I'd ignored because he was my son, the manipulation I'd excused as ambition, the coldness I'd rationalized as focus. I failed as a mother. That's a truth I have to live with. But I didn't fail as a grandmother. When it mattered most, I believed a frightened little girl over my own flesh and blood. That might be the most important thing I've ever done. Marcus tried to contact me once. A letter from prison, full of excuses and justifications and pleas for forgiveness. I burned it without reading past the first paragraph. Some things are unforgivable. Trying to murder your wife for insurance money is one of them. 3 years have passed since that Thanksgiving. Lily is 11 now, tall for her age, with her mother's gentle heart and a steel core that amazes me. She wants to be a detective like Aunt Dorothy. She wants to help other kids who see terrible things and don't know who to believe them. Sandra remarried last spring. A good man, a carpenter named James, who looks at her like she hung the moon. He adopted Lily officially, gave her his last name. She calls him Dad now, and she means it. I'm 66, creaking a bit more, moving a bit slower. But every morning I wake up in my Victorian house on East Gaston Street, listen to the birds in the garden, and thank God for second chances. Sometimes I think about Marcus. Not with love anymore, not even with hate, just with a profound, weary sadness. I think about what he could have been, what I thought he was. I wonder if I missed something crucial when he was young, some moment where intervention might have changed his path. But mostly, I don't think about him at all. He made his choices. He'll spend the next 3 decades living with them. Last week, Lily asked me something that stopped me cold. "Grandma Evie, do you think evil is born or made?" I thought carefully before answering. This child had earned honest answers. "I think," I said slowly, "that we all have capacity for good and bad. Life shapes us, choices define us. Your father made terrible choices, but you, Lily, you made a brave one. You chose to speak up. You chose to protect your mother. That's who you are." She nodded, processing this. "I never want to be like him." "You won't be. You're already nothing like him." She smiled then, that beautiful smile that reminds me of Sandra. "I love you, Grandma." "I love you too, baby girl, more than you'll ever know." This morning, I made breakfast for Sandra and Lily before they headed off to work and school. Pancakes, the special ones with chocolate chips that Lily loves. James joined us, laughing at some joke Lily made about her math teacher. Normal. Wonderfully, blessedly normal. After they left, I sat on my porch with my coffee, watching the Spanish moss sway in the breeze. A neighbor walked by and waved. A cardinal landed on my fence, red as a Christmas ornament. Life goes on. Even after betrayal, even after horror, life goes on. We survive. We rebuild. We find new reasons to be grateful. And sometimes, if we're very lucky, we get to be the person who believes a child when no one else will. We get to be the hand that reaches out in the darkness. If you're listening to this story and something feels wrong in your own life, trust that feeling. If a child tells you something frightening, believe them. Investigate. Ask questions. Don't let love for anyone blind you to the truth, because the truth will come out eventually. It always does. And it's better to face it on your terms than to become its victim. That's what I learned at 63, in the most painful way imaginable. That's what I'm telling you now, hoping you'll never have to learn it yourself. Love can be blind, but grandmother instincts? Those see everything. Did you enjoy this story? Let me know in the comments where you're listening from. If you want to support the channel, you can send a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. I read every single comment, and I can't wait to hear what you think. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next life story.